So picture this scene for a second. It's an ordinary Tuesday afternoon.
Yeah,
So
okay, I'm picturing it.
you are sitting at your kitchen island, you're staring at your laptop, just trying to focus on working from home.
Oh yeah, the classic work from home struggle.
Exactly. And then the delivery guy rings the front doorbell, your kids are like sprinting through the backyard, and there's just absolute unfiltered chaos unfolding in three different directions.
Right.
And right there, sitting squarely in the middle of all of this, is your dog.
Just watching it all.
Yes.
Yeah.
Completely present, taking in every single detail and missing absolutely nothing.
It's a beautifully ordinary scene. You know, we see it every day in our own homes. And yet we rarely stop to think about the centuries of deliberate engineering that is just sitting right there on the living room rug.
Exactly. And that image, that hyper-aware dog sitting right in the middle of the suburban chaos, that is the launching pad for today's deep dive.
It is a great starting point.
Yeah. Yeah, because we are jumping into a massive stack of source notes today that covers, well, the entire lifetime of the boxer dog.
That's a lot of material.
It really is. But I want to make a promise to you right out of the gate. Our mission today isn't just to, like, rattle off a list of cute dog facts.
Right, there are plenty of places you can go for that.
Exactly. We are digging into a genuinely fascinating philosophy here because the source material reveals this incredibly powerful truth about extraordinary outcomes.
And this applies to so much more than just dogs.
It really does. Whether we are talking about raising a perfectly behaved canine companion or just, building a well-lived life, those outcomes are not built by one single perfect decision.
No, they are not.
They are built by thousands of small, thoughtful, consistent choices.
It's a really profound shift in perspective, I mean, when you really think about it.
Yeah.
Because it moves us away from looking for a magic bullet.
Yeah.
Like that one perfect training trick or that one perfect brand of dog food.
Oh, totally. We all want the quick fix.
Right. And instead, it pushes us toward understanding the immense power of daily, compounded habits.
So whether you currently have a boxer snoring on your couch right now, or you're thinking about bringing a dog into your life, or honestly, if you are just insanely curious about how ancient history silently shapes modern behavior, stick with us.
It's going to be a good one.
Because this deep dive is going to completely change how you look at the animals living inside our homes. But to truly understand that dog staring at the delivery guy on a Tuesday, we can't start in the modern living room.
No, we have to go way back.
Yeah, we have to travel back over a century, straight to Germany.
Because frankly, you simply cannot understand the present without decoding the past. Context is everything, especially when it comes to genetics.
So let's set the scene. We are in Munich, and it's the late 1800s. Picture these incredibly crowded cobblestone city streets.
Very industrial, very busy.
Right. And you have these bustling, working-class butcher quarters where dogs were used to drive cattle. But right on the edge of the city, you also have these massive, sprawling, aristocratic hunting estates.
That's quite a contrast.
It is. And in this specific environment, you have a dog that descends from an older, heavier breed called the Bullenbeisser. And these dogs were bred for one highly specific, incredibly dangerous job.
They are engineered to hunt wild boar.
Wild boar.
Yes. And to really appreciate what that means, we have to recognize that a European wild boar is not a rabbit.
Right?
It's not a fox. It is a highly aggressive, heavily muscled, 300-pound tank with razor-sharp tusks.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because to hold a charging wild boar in place requires a physiological and psychological makeup that is, frankly, almost hard to comprehend.
It really is.
Physically, this dog needed a wide, undershot jaw so it could lash onto the prey and actually still breathe through its nose while holding on for dear life.
Form follows function. Always.
Right. But the psychological requirement is even wilder to me. This dog had to have the sheer physical courage to face down an enraged beast, hold it completely still despite all the chaos, and, here's the critical part, possess the profound intelligence and devotion to release that boar the exact split second the human handler called for it.
What's fascinating here is that the physical mechanism, the mental mechanism, they had to operate in absolutely perfect harmony.
They had to.
Think about the stakes here. If the dog is incredibly brave but disobedient, it ignores the handler, holds on too long, and gets killed by the boar.
Wow, yeah.
But if it's highly obedient but lacks raw courage, it just runs away at the first sign of danger.
So it had to be both.
Exactly. It had to be a masterclass in both raw, explosive intensity and absolute ironclad impulse control.
Which brings me to this analogy that I was thinking about. When you take a boxer into your home today, it is essentially like taking a highly specialized piece of 19th century military hardware and dropping it right into the middle of a modern suburban family.
That is a perfect way to look at it. I love that analogy.
Yeah.
Because the key insight from our sources is that the job description completely changed.
Right.
But the internal blueprint didn't change at all.
It's still there.
That genetic coding is still totally intact. So when your boxer confidently walks right up to a stranger at your front door without a single shred of fear, that is the courage of the boar hunt, just redirected.
That is so crazy to think about.
When that same dog insists on following you from the kitchen to the laundry room to the bathroom and just refuses to let you out of his sight,
Yes, the constant shadowing.
right, that is the ancient devotion to the handler.
So all that intense jumping, that overwhelming enthusiasm, that deep-seated reluctance to be left alone in the house, these aren't bugs in the operating system.
No,
We shouldn't be looking at them as weird behavioral quirks.
not at all. They are features. It is the original hunting blueprint trying to find expression in a world of soft couches and squeaky toys.
Right.
When we label these behaviors as flaws that need to be eradicated, we are basically fighting the dog's very nature.
Which is a losing battle.
Exactly. The goal isn't to erase the intensity, it's to give it a proper modern outlet.
But, okay, if we are essentially harboring an ancient boar hunter in our living rooms, what happens when that instinct has nowhere to go? Like, how do we prevent this dog from just tearing apart the house?
That is the million-dollar question right there.
Yeah.
And the sources point directly to the concept of foundational management. Because knowing this history means you realize a boxer isn't just a plug-and-play pet.
Definitely not.
Managing this kind of hardwired intensity requires an ongoing foundation. And that actually starts before you even bring the dog home. Finding a responsible breeder is step one.
And the notes are very specific about what responsible means in this context.
Yeah.
We are talking about breeders who rigorously test for cardiac and orthopedic concerns before a puppy is even conceived.
Which is huge for this breed.
Huge. But once that biological stage is set, the psychological stage begins. And the sources emphasize building foundations like bite inhibition without using force. But I need to pause here because, how on earth do you teach a dog with a literal vice grip jaw not to bite hard and do it without using force? Like, how does that work?
It sounds totally counterintuitive.
Yeah, it really does.
But you do it by mimicking nature. So in a litter, if a puppy bites its sibling too hard, what happens? The sibling yelps loudly and immediately stops playing.
Game over?
Exactly. All the fun ends. So to build bite inhibition in a powerful breed, humans just have to do the exact same thing.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, if the puppy's teeth touch human skin too forcefully, you don't hit them or pin them down, that just triggers their instinct to fight back.
Because they're bred to fight a boar.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Instead, you withdraw all your attention. You basically become incredibly boring.
Huh.
And they quickly learn that human skin is fragile, and if they want the engagement they desperately crave, they have to exert total control over their mouths.
So you're using their desire for a relationship to teach them impulse control. That makes total sense. But, I'm struggling to see how training a mature dog differs from this early puppyhood phase.
How do you mean?
Well, if a 5-year-old dog already knows sit, stay, and knows to go to the bathroom outside, aren't we just repeating old news? Doesn't training eventually cross a finish line?
It is completely understandable why people think that, but it is actually one of the most dangerous misconceptions in dog ownership.
Really?
Yeah, training never really ends because the dog's brain is constantly changing.
Wait, how so? Changing how?
Well, if we connect this to the bigger picture of canine development, adolescence is this massive, often overlooked hurdle.
Okay.
Just like human teenagers, adolescent dogs between 6 and 18 months, they experience huge hormonal surges.
Oh, boy.
Cortisol and testosterone levels spike. And the prefrontal cortex, which is the logical, rule-following part of the brain, it essentially goes offline.
Wow, just like human teenagers.
Pretty much. That impulse control we talked about suddenly just vanishes. They will test boundaries, they will look right at you, and seemingly forget a command they have known for months.
Oh, frustrating.
Very. And if you think training is a finish line you cross back in puppyhood, adolescence will completely break your heart.
So you have to keep reinforcing those rules because you are literally fighting biology at that point.
Continually. And it doesn't stop in adulthood either. Even senior dogs deeply need and benefit from mental engagement. They still want to learn.
Right.
And here's the core philosophy the sources reveal. Boxers don't just learn commands. They learn relationships.
That's a great distinction.
Every single time you train with positive reinforcement, you're making a deposit into a shared bank account. Trust is the actual currency that fuels this entire lifetime together.
That is a beautiful way to frame it. Trust is the currency. But, to sustain that lifelong relationship, to literally fuel that energetic blueprint, we have to talk about exactly that fuel.
Yes, nutrition and exercise.
Exactly. And reading through the sources, it seems like human assumptions consistently get both of these things incredibly wrong.
Oh, we constantly project our own human dietary trends and workout mentalities onto a completely different species. It rarely ends well.
Let's look at the dietary side first. The notes explicitly frame nutrition as a lifelong investment. For instance, when they are puppies, you have to carefully pace their growth.
Very carefully.
If you feed a large breed puppy a diet that makes them grow too fast, their bones actually outpace their soft tissues, and you risk permanently ruining their developing joints.
Which is devastating.
It is. But then there's the trend chasing. Human beings love a dietary trend, right?
Yeah.
So we buy grain-free dog food because, well, it sounds healthy to us. We shouldn't eat too many carbs, so neither should the dog, right?
That is exactly the logic people use. It sounds right on the surface. But for this specific breed, grain-free diets have been linked to devastating genetic cardiac risks.
And the mechanism behind this absolutely blew my mind. The sources explain that it's not just the lack of grains that's the problem.
No, it's what they replace them with.
Exactly. It's what the manufacturers use to replace the grains. They use legumes, things like peas, lentils, and potatoes.
Right.
And those specific substitute ingredients actually block the dog's ability to synthesize taurine, which is a crucial amino acid.
Vital for heart function.
Right.
Yeah.
So by feeding them a trendy boutique diet, you are literally starving the heart muscle of the nutrients it needs to pump. You are gambling with their heart because of a marketing buzzword.
It is a perfect example of why understanding the specific biological blueprint really matters. What is harmless or even beneficial for one breed or, for a human can be a silent trigger for another.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though. Let's shift from nutrition to exercise.
Okay.
Because this breed is an absolute athlete. So the logical human assumption is, I just need to run this dog until it is physically exhausted, and then it will be a good, calm dog.
The old, a tired dog is a good dog myth.
Right, but the sources completely dismantle this idea. It's like trying to tire out a highly gifted, emotionally restless child by just making them run laps around the school track.
That's a great way to put it.
Sure, their legs might get tired, but their brain is still buzzing. A tired body with a bored mind just leaves you with a restless, frustrated dog.
That analogy is spot on. It all comes back to the concept of balance. Physical exercise is necessary, obviously, but it is not sufficient.
So if running 5 miles isn't enough, what does a balanced routine actually look like?
Well, it means engaging the mind that was originally designed to calculate the erratic movements of a wild animal in real time.
Which is intense.
Very. So they need puzzle games. They need scent work.
Wait, what exactly makes scent work so exhausting for them?
It's neurological. So a dog's olfactory bulb, the part of the brain that processes smells, is massive compared to ours.
Okay.
When you hide a tree in the house and force them to sniff it out, they are processing incredibly complex data. It is the canine equivalent of doing advanced calculus.
Wow, advanced calculus for dogs.
Exactly. 15 minutes of intense sniffing will tire a boxer out far more effectively than a 2-mile jog.
That's wild.
And they also need the mental fatigue that comes from practicing obedience in a highly distracting environment. Physical activity, mental stimulation, emotional connection with you, and genuine rest must all work together as a system.
So they need the full package.
Yeah, if you only run them, you are just building a marathon runner who still wants to chew your drywall.
A marathon runner who wants to chew your drywall. If that isn't a wake-up call for dog owners, I don't know what is.
It's quite an image.
But balancing the mind and body naturally forces us to confront what is easily the most empowering, but honestly also the most intimidating part of this source material: health and genetics.
It is always the hardest topic for owners to face. It's scary. But in this arena, knowledge is absolute protection.
It is, and the boxer breed, for all its athleticism, has some very serious genetic predispositions.
Yes, they do.
The sources list things like dilated cardiomyopathy, or DCM, where the heart becomes enlarged, floppy, and weak, unable to pump blood effectively.
Which goes back to the taurine issue we
Yeah,
discussed.
exactly. Then there's ARVC, which is terrifying when you understand the mechanics. It stands for arrhythmogenic right ventricular cardiomyopathy.
Mouthful.
Yeah. In plain English, the healthy heart muscle is slowly replaced by fatty, fibrous tissue, causing severe electrical misfires in the heart.
It's very serious.
Add in aortic stenosis, which is a narrowing of the heart's aortic valve plus joint issues like hip dysplasia and tragically heavily elevated cancer risks compared to other breeds.
It's a lot to monitor.
The preventative care required is extensive. We are talking regular wellness exams, strict parasite prevention, daily dental care, and literally doing monthly hands-on body condition checks where you are feeling every inch of them for new lumps.
When you lay it all out like that, it sounds incredibly overwhelming.
So what does this all mean? If I look out my window right now and my dog is sprinting around the yard, fetching a tennis ball, acting completely crazy and energetic, shouldn't I just take a deep breath and assume they are perfectly healthy?
You'd think so, right?
I mean, a sick dog wouldn't play fetch, right?
This raises an important question, and it highlights a deeply ingrained survival mechanism that owners constantly misinterpret. The answer is absolutely not.
Really?
You cannot rely on a dog's energy levels or their willingness to play as a definitive metric of their health.
Because they hide the pain, but why would they do that? Why hide it from the person feeding them?
It is pure evolutionary biology.
Mm.
In the wild, a sick or injured pack animal is a target.
Oh, of course.
Showing vulnerability means you will either be abandoned by your pack or killed by a predator. So dogs have evolved what we call a vibrant mask.
A vibrant mass.
Yes, they will push through immense physical discomfort, especially a breed with the stoic courage of a boxer, to keep participating in the pack's activities. The drive to stay with the handler overrides the pain.
That's unbelievable.
They will run on a torn cruciate ligament. They will eagerly play fetch with a failing heart.
That is heartbreaking, but also amazing from an evolutionary standpoint. So if they're actively hiding their symptoms from me, how do I actually know if something is wrong before it's an absolute emergency?
By becoming an absolute expert in your individual dog's normal baseline.
The baseline.
Yes, you have to know what their normal resting, breathing rate looks like while they're just sleeping on the couch. You have to know exactly how enthusiastically they usually greet you at the door.
Down to the smallest detail.
Exactly. You have to know the exact texture of their coat and their normal weight. Because while the vibrant mask is strong, it isn't perfect.
It slips.
The first sign of a devastating illness usually isn't a dramatic collapse. It's a slight, almost imperceptible deviation from that baseline.
Like what?
They hesitate for 1 second before jumping into the back of the car. Or they pant for 5 extra minutes after a walk on a cool day. If you know the baseline intimately, those tiny deviations become glaring red flags.
Wow. You catch the whisper before it becomes a scream.
Precisely. Cultivating that awareness is the single most valuable skill an owner can develop.
And if you apply all of this, right, if you truly understand the intense 19th century history, you build that trusting relationship to navigate adolescence, you fuel the mind and body correctly to protect their heart, and you watch that baseline like a hawk, it all culminates.
It does.
But our sources point out a really beautiful truth here. It doesn't culminate in some dramatic, heroic movie climax. It culminates in the quiet, daily reality of a maturing senior companion.
The grace of aging. It is a beautiful stage of a dog's life, but it requires a subtle shift in how we manage them and how we view our role.
The sources reframe this in a way that really stuck with me. Aging is not a departure from the relationship you've built, it is an adaptation of it.
That's a great way to say it.
Think about their job description. A senior boxer is going to move slower, their eyes might get cloudy, their physical athleticism is fading. But that ancestral devotion, that desperate desire to be with the handler.
That never fades.
Exactly. They still want to participate in the ordinary Tuesdays.
They absolutely do. And this is where owners sometimes make a crucial misstep out of, misplaced kindness.
What do you mean?
Well, they see the dog slowing down, they feel guilty, so they just completely stop exercising them or training them altogether.
Right. You think you're giving them a well-earned retirement on the couch, letting them rest.
But by doing that, you are actually taking away their purpose. The exercise needs to be adjusted, certainly shorter walks, lower impact activities, but not eliminated.
Keep them moving.
Yes. And the mental engagement, like the scent work we discussed earlier, is actually more vital than ever to stave off cognitive decline.
That makes sense. Keep the brain working.
And then there are the environmental tweaks. You put down rugs on slippery hardwood floors so they have better footing. You invest in softer orthopedic bedding to cushion those aging joints.
Small changes.
Right. But don't look at it as just buying dog accessories. You are actively adapting the physical environment to support a 19th century blueprint that is finally slowing down.
You know, reading through this final section on aging and just looking back at the sheer volume of information we've covered, the biggest takeaway I got from the source material was actually a massive sense of relief.
That is an interesting reaction. Relief in what sense?
Well, because when you hear about the history, the complex health risks like ARVC, the intense need for neurological stimulation, it sounds like you have to be a flawless human being to own this dog.
Oh, I see.
It sounds like if you make one mistake, you've completely ruined them. But the ultimate message here is that consistency matters so much more than perfection.
Absolutely.
Having a bad training day where you lose your patience, not a failure. Missing a subtle sign of illness for a day or two because you were stressed with a project at work, not a failure. Feeding them an extra piece of cheese when you know you shouldn't.
We all do it.
Right. It's not the end of the world.
That is a vital message to internalize. The goal of understanding all this data isn't to create an impossible anxiety-inducing standard of ownership. You aren't supposed to be a robot, and neither is the dog.
Thank goodness.
The goal is to establish a general pattern of thoughtful choices.
Thousands of small, thoughtful choices, just like we said at the beginning.
Exactly. So that when you do have to make a decision about their food, their vet care, their training, you are making it with confidence and context, rather than just guessing in the dark.
And just as a quick, vital note, because it is so important when we talk about this kind of comprehensive care, everything in this deep dive is strictly educational.
Yes, very important.
We are talking about overarching biological principles. If you are ever seeing those deviations in your own dog's baseline or you're concerned about their health, you should always consult your veterinarian. They are the medical experts for your specific animal.
Absolutely essential advice. Your vet is your most important partner in all of this.
So as we wrap up this journey, I want to just pull all the threads together for you. We started in the crowded butcher quarters and sprawling hunting estates of 19th century Munich.
A long way from here.
We looked at the mechanics of a creature explicitly built to face down violence and danger with unbelievable courage and restraint. And we followed that exact same genetic blueprint all the way to a modern family couch on a Tuesday afternoon.
It's quite a journey.
The job they were hired to do changed completely. But the heart and the mind inside the dog never did. Once you understand the mechanism behind that blueprint, you will literally never look at a dog bouncing at your front door the same way again.
It changes everything. It turns frustration into understanding. But it also leaves me with a lingering thought.
Oh.
We've spent this entire time analyzing how a dog, bred for an incredibly specific, physically demanding and violent task, managed to perfectly repurpose that exact same genetic intensity into being an emotionally intelligent, deeply devoted living room companion.
It's an incredible adaptation.
It is. But if we connect this to the bigger picture, it makes you wonder. If a creature we brought into our homes can carry that much ancient history beneath the surface of a Tuesday afternoon, what unrecognized, ancient instincts are currently hiding in plain sight in our own everyday human behaviors?
Oh, wow. That is a fascinating thought to leave on. We are all just walking around with our own ancient blueprints, trying to adapt to the modern world. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. Next time you are working from home and your dog is just staring at you from across the room, give them a nod, acknowledge the blueprint. They've traveled a remarkably long way to be sitting right there. Catch you next time.